Welcome y'all to another Skip Barber race here at Oulton Park. Looks like the pack will split up pretty much like it did yesterday. Didn't really improve my fastest lap by a whole lot today in practice. Optimals I was able to get down to 5.9 flat.
Have a good race.
So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. If qual laps are anything to go by, which a lot of times they aren't exactly, we have a little bit of a gap to the guy behind us, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to be able to break away. It'll really depend on how well we can keep up with the pack in front of us. Here we go.
Green, green, green.
One thing I wish I'd have done was practice race starts. I had not. Probably a pretty big shortcoming for me every week. Alright, let's not mess this up already. Looks like we were able to get lucky and break away from the folks behind us already, though. Sure how long that's going to hold out if we keep making mistakes like we did there on the second to last turn.
1 minute 13.906.
Alright, well, that was just stupid on my part. And yeah, second definitely works there a lot better. And even if you make a mistake and end up going too slow, you can always drop down to first. If you don't get our act together, we're going to be very lonely.
One minute 6.593.
I don't know if I'm just failing to move my breakpoint back, but wow, I am just choking hard all of a sudden. Alright, just need to calm down. Let the nerves settle out. Whoa, what happened? Looks like we gained about a second on the group behind us. I watched Philip Lebert's lap, and apparently third is the correct one for that set of turns. And not fourth. Still something I need to play around with a bit more, which I may do in practice later this evening.
0.419.
I don't expect that in a race like this.
That looked like that. I was.
It's called brakes.
One thing I've been having trouble with on consistency there, though, in second, is you really need to trail brake that turn to really get the car to turn enough. Even in first, you did a bit, but not as much as you do in second. But you have to get the speed right. Otherwise, you're coasting for too long, or you're having to over brake. It looks like
One minute.
George has broken the...
One, five.
Jorge? George? The guy behind us.
Oh, come on, Daniel.
Broken the draft. Holy cow. Okay, I need to take a moment.
Thank you.
That is definitely what we call a pants-changing moment. The only reason that didn't end up worse for us is we got the front on the grass there,
1 minute.
so it didn't continue to
1, 4.
try to bring the back around on us, and was sliding instead of turning more. Can't believe I kept it from continuing around though once we regained traction. Guess this is going to be a podcast edition, unless somebody makes a mistake somewhere, including us, and we actually get near people. It seems on a lot of these turns, with the way they're set up, or the way you run them, being able to brush the brakes a bit when you go too quick is a crucial skill to being able to get reasonable lap times.
0.594.
And on that turn, I still don't know if I'm just going too slow by the time by entry, which means I'm coming in shallow because the speed isn't pushing the turn out further, or if I'm turning in too early or too quickly. I'm definitely getting it right sometimes, but not always. I don't know what I'm aiming for or doing wrong, so... Thank you. And that's kind of the frustrating thing about that turn, in this weather at least. When I do the preceding two turns correctly at the right speed, I can actually get to fifth
1 minute.
early enough to actually take advantage of it. Then I'm in a different gear than I normally am, so I have to pay attention and downshift enough times. I found in practice you can take that in third. Not advisable. And even if you go too slow on those two turns, like basically for that little part in between, you really want to try to let the car go out a little wide so you can get on the gas early for the second turn. Looks like Roger and Jorge are keeping themselves busy.
6.5.
Not sure if it's George or Jorge or what. I think I'm just braking too early for that. I'm actually braking harder than I was yesterday. And so, kind of throwing me off. So the question is today, are we actually going to finish the race or put ourselves into the wall at some point? That last turn is real easy to do it in, or second to last turn. You get just a little bit of dirt, and it's not a lot of fun. My other theory is that I'm just not trail braking correctly for that turn on the... Because that time it felt pretty good. But I started trail braking a little bit earlier. Still love that. Saw the puff of smoke. I saw the guy out down a lap.
1 minute 6.013.
Yeah, it definitely looks like to me I'm either turning in too early or too quickly, or both. Probably more the turning in too quickly part. There we go. That felt really good. May have missed the apex a tad. And still debatable whether it's worth hitting a small apex or not, or the small curb. At least for me. See, and that right there is why I still want to say fourth is good for those sets of turns. Because basically I was at the right place to shift as soon as I got back on the gas, or shortly thereafter. Uh-oh.
1 minute
Now we can see how quick Roger is.
6.08.
Oh. I thought we had more than that, especially after our little... dance changing incident. Interesting, this track is fairly forgiving-ish. I think it's usually just the curbs are a lot smaller than other tracks. It may not feel like it is, but there's definitely quite a few places you can get into the wheel off and it won't ding you for it. And there we go with what I was talking about earlier. Should have just ridden it out in third since I'd basically made the turn. And second at that point could only unsettle the car like it did.
396. You got 10 laps to go.
I think if I had actually blipped, it would have been fine. Which is the funny thing about this car, you normally don't need the blip on downshifts. However, if the car is kind of unstable at all, it's worth doing, because it'll keep the car nice and happy. There's also a couple of cases where if you're downshifting too early or too high in the revs, it won't downshift unless you blip. Looks like we're keeping pace with Roger.
1 minute
All right, pick a gear and stick with it. Just felt natural, like I need to go down one more, just I guess based on the revs. And the brain didn't engage in time going, hey, you're in the right gear already. Don't do it up. Well, too late. Turn is just so weird. Nope. Roger may be lagging.
1 minute 6.322.
Oh no, he fell back. Uh-oh. That's not good. There's been a few times I've done that where I'm not sure if I didn't slow down enough, but I definitely have too much brakes. Too much brakes than is needed to get the car to rotate, so I end up turning worse. And so then the question is, do I need to lift, or did I just need to come off of them, or what? Like, how do I fix that problem? And as of right this second, I think my answer would be don't get in that situation. The best bet.
1 minute 6.499.
Yeah, not a good lap. Probably because of my mistake there. Since your exit out of that turn basically dictates how much speed you're going to get for this stretch, which has some turns, but they're all flat out. Okay, I'm happy with how that went. That almost wasn't good. Surprised I didn't get an off track there.
5.743.
So that apparently was a good lap. I think my issue a lot of times is that I'm anticipating the braking points too much. And so instead of acting when I reach them, I'm acting ahead of them. I really think that's why sometimes my timing just gets thrown off by so much. Did we do another decent one?
1 minute 6.061.
Not bad.
You've got 5 laps to go.
Definitely won't complain about flat sixes. Unless it's in a Mustang, and then ew. V8 or bust. Yes, I know. Supercharged or turbocharged V6 will put out more horsepower, but still not an 8. So, I mean, look at how much horsepower could we get out of it with a supercharged or turbocharged 8. Oh, I'm glad I backed off out of that one. I would have been in the grass in an unfun way.
1 minute 6 even.
I always loved the way the speech stitches together there when it's even, because it's just like, here's some numbers that sound like I'm not bored, and then even, how dare you make me say this word. I mean, depending on if he had any context around it, I'm not blaming the voice actor or anything. It's just funny. I think it's because of just how curt he is with the ending of it, while all the other ones he kind of lets roll. He just kind of trail off.
Minute 5.921.
I would love to do nothing but 5s. That would make me happy. For the rest of this race. Yeah, that was weird. I saw that I was going to be going too slow, so I just let off the brakes. But then I knew I was going to be going too quick by the time I hit the corner, so I just like, and brush the brakes. Do a little slide. Yeah, it'll be alright. I think I need to get on the gas earlier there, so I'm still not using enough exit curb consistently. I mean, the better option would be to actually brake more consistently.
6.002.
Because then I'll have to play games with knowing when to accelerate properly. Which is what I think, at least with this car, is 90% of the game is just braking properly. And of course that means braking the correct amount at the correct time, you know, blah blah blah. There is something to be said about getting on the gas at the right time too.
One more lap to go.
That is also highly dictated by braking. Be willing to bet in a lot of other cars it's the same way.
Minute 5.952.
Well, ish.
What's that called?
Because there's cars like the Lotus 49 where throttle control is
Get ready.
critical.
Mirrors, man.
I will, man. I will, man. I'm scheduled already. The force is with you, man.
There's so many jokes I want to make right now, but I don't know if it'll be cool. And I unfortunately haven't raced side by side with Carl enough to really feel cool in making them either. Not that they would be mean or ill-spirited or anything like that. Oh, I didn't realize this is the last lap. Oh well.
There's the flag. It's over.
Almost had you.
Great job.
That definitely went a lot better than yesterday, at least. It looks like our consistency wasn't too bad once we really settled in and settled down. Not great at all early on, though. So I think that's at least the next mental aspect we really need to start working on is early race focus, calmness, early race chill. I mean, I'm still doing a lot better than I used to. And some of that I think is because I have a slightly better understanding of some of the dynamics during the race. One thing I know that will help is actually practicing race start, so I kind of get a better idea of if I need to brake and when for the first turn. Something I definitely should be working on in the future. With that, if you like, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, or advice, drop it in the box below. Good luck in your races, and y'all take it easy.